Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone, Season 3, Episode 22. It's called A Piano in the House. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, this one is about a theatre critic, which is thematically mildly relevant. His profession's not hugely important, though. The point is, he's fairly rich, and he's buying his young, attractive wife. And I'm only noting that down because he's like twice her age. there was a gap.
It's mentioned.
It is mentioned, but there was a gap. Like when he walked in, I was like, "Wait, was it his daughter or his wife who was buying the piano for?" And then it's like, "Oh no, they're referring to each other by their first names. They are husband and wife." Okay, but he buys a player piano, so a piano that plays tracks on its own. You can still use it, I believe, as a regular piano if you want to, but it will play. If you put the rolls of thing in it, it'll play a track. If you've seen Westworld, you might know it from there. But that is what he does. But the gimmick of the episode is that whenever a song is being played through the piano, someone in the room who emotionally connects with the feeling of that particular song will reveal their truth. They will not be able to stop talking about how they feel about something in particular. So let's say if it's a sad song, someone might get really open about the sadness that they're feeling in their life and be brutally honest to the point where they're revealing things that they otherwise wouldn't. So that is the general idea, but that's not the only one. There's also like a happy one. There's so on and so on. But although typically they're all things none of them want to reveal. They're all things that people hide. It's always a truth that's being concealed.
Yes. Very, very personal, private information.
Yes. So that is the gist of the episode. So Tara, what did you think of A Piano in the House?
It's kind of a hokey episode, but there's a part in it that I actually found myself getting kind of emotional. And I actually kind of really like this episode.
I think you said it that way because you think I'm going to disagree. I am going to go one further and say this is an excellent episode, and it is actually the best episode we've watched in some time. And it's not a highly rated.
I'm glad you think that, actually. Yeah.
It's not a highly rated one on IMDb. It's not a low rated one. It's sort of like a middle, solid rating, but nothing spectacular, average rating wise on IMDb. But that surprised me as I was watching it because I was like, oh, it's a kind of a gimmicky idea for an episode. They put in a song and someone will start speaking. I thought this was an excellent character study, revealing who the main character is, how he treats other people. And because we meet him very early on. He seems fair in the first scene, because in the first scene it's actually the shopkeeper, like the antique store shopkeeper, who seems like a bit of a dick until he puts
He's
on
extra cynical.
He puts on a track on the, I say track, I don't call them tracks on a player piano, but he puts on a song on a player piano. Pardon me. And he starts to open up about how sentimental he is about birthdays and how it's gifts are important and blah blah. But as soon as the music stops playing, he's immediately back into our birthdays are a waste of time and money. Dude, you try to sell items to people. Gifts are like probably your number one business. Stop! Don't try and downplay it.
Right.
But it takes the he gets the piano delivered, right, and then the rest of the episode takes place in this fancy apartment, and they've got a servant. He's got his young wife. There's going to be friends coming over later for her birthday soiree, their get together, and from there he kind of slowly realizes what this does. He learns about it by using it on the butler, and then he uses it on the wife, and then he starts using it on the guests at the party. The first one who arrives, and then a couple of examples in the party itself. And then ultimately, of course, as you'd expect it to end, it's going to end with it finally being flipped on him, and he's the one who's going to open up by the end. But we hear about him very early on, particularly when the butler and the wife are they're affected by it and they start talking about him. And we hear that he is this cruel, mean piece of shit who seems to enjoy just belittling people, making fun of them, using them as entertainment, which kind of ties into his whole theatre critic kind of life where he treats everyone like that. He treats everyone like they're a play to be critiqued and mocked,
right.
and so on and so on. And I thought
he surrounds himself at least with one writer, so people who want to try to please him to be on his good side despite how he treats them.
Yeah. And as the episode goes on, his reactions to the various people as they're being affected, not just, I mean, obviously the fact that he even wants to keep doing it and like, oh, this makes someone else like confess their sins, because he's effectively making them put on a little show for himself. Like he's like, oh, I can make people perform for me. But the way he reacts to each one, like I actually think the actor in this, his performance, the guy who plays Fitzgerald here, Barry Morse, I think he is very good in this role. He's a little over the top, but not so much that it becomes comical. He's
enough to where you're like, yeah, I buy that he was a theater, like, a theater club kid.
He comes across as very bitter. He comes across as all these things, but he's sort of gleeful in how he's been a dick to everyone else because he feels important. He has this self-worth, self-importance. And I think his performance, Joe, I was getting like a mix of different things from him. There was a point where I thought to myself, Ricardo Montalban could have played this role.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would have fit right into this, amongst some others. But yeah, no, I thought this episode was great. I thought like I was surprised how every time he used the piano on someone, I found myself really enjoying different ways it was affecting people.
Right, because I thought at first it was like the power keeps flickering here. Sorry. I thought at first it was going to be like the theater thing where everybody was just going to be the opposite of the person they are, like the two masks, like the happy and sad face mask. That's associated with like theater. And plus, like in the beginning, the shop that he goes to, there's just a bunch of masks everywhere. So, I mean, I guess he's sort of saying that we all wear a mask and hide who we are inside, and this music will bring it out of you. And yeah, but it turned out to be like by the third one, you're like, oh no, this is just like pulling out people's truths.
Yeah. And hey, if you disappear, we'll know why. Okay. Happens to me sometimes too. It's fine. It's
a new place I'm in. You may have noticed my new empty background.
Not gonna be empty forever. It's fine. No, I as he was using, because the first big one, aside from the shopkeeper, who obviously has his little thing, but is the butler, because the butler's really like serious. He's got a really monotone. It's like he's trying to be this. He's this old man who's trying to be professional, so he's very dour and serious all the time. And Fitzgerald's like, hey, do me a favor, will you? Tonight at the party, it's meant to be a happy occasion. Could you try and maybe, have a smile about you? And he's like, I will do my very best.
I love the zoom in on his face. Like you're so close to his face and it's just no emotion whatsoever. It's totally frozen.
Yeah, and the body language between, husband and wife isn't that strong. She's clearly not into this piano, not into this relationship.
Yeah, he said, you want to learn how to play the piano, so I bought you one. And she's like, yeah, but you bought me one that plays itself. And his response is like super cruel. He's like, well, I didn't want you to like try to spend 4 years learning only to find out you're not very good. So this one will play for you. Like, that's such a dick thing to say to your wife.
I mean, yeah, there's ways you could like you could say, well, this still works as a regular piano, but I thought it'd be a fun thing we could turn on or something, right?
Yeah.
There's ways to sort of say, oh, this is why I went with the player because I thought it'd be cute.
No, it's just like you have no talent and you'll never have talent, so don't even bother. But you can still listen to nice piano music.
Yeah. So they put on like a song, and the butler starts just laughing, and this is the thing. They spend so much time in that close up of his like really sad, like serious face that when they cut to, because they both look up, and it sort of does that thing where it's like a horror movie almost, where they look up and they're in shock and they're like, my God, Jeeves, what's going on? And it cuts to this like really weird close up of him just with this really forced grin in his face. And I'll be honest, this was nightmare fuel. This close up, the rest of the scene where he's like jumping around and dropping things and laughing and talking about how Fitzgerald's like, oh, I think you're hilarious the way you like always inspect the silverware to see if it's been polished, and you check to see if all the floors are swept, and you check on everything, and he's like laughing around. But that first shot, if I'm just like, Joey's like, he's that scene in Terminator 2, the special edition, where Arnold's trying to smile. It's like that for like 5 seconds of a close up, and it is
I thought it was kind of funny, but I suppose so.
Scary old man. But no, I mean, but it reveals quite a lot that he's because he literally talks to his wife about firing him, and he's like walking out of the room halfway through the conversation. And Fitzgerald doesn't even change the topic. He doesn't think, "Oh no, I'll shelve this until he's not here." He just keeps going.
Yeah, he's like super cruel.
Yes, I don't know. I thought that it was very well constructed because then, of course, I guess the really obvious one, which I think in ways makes it the least interesting one, is the wife. Just because it's like, well, yeah, obviously she is not interested in him anymore. This is just going to reveal the truth, and this is going to make him more spiteful, more of a dick, more of everything. Yeah, it's not like he's upset because his wife doesn't love him anymore. He sees like an opportunity to just have more ammunition against her, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty sad moment. I mean, she's a good actress too, but like, yeah, she doesn't admit like being in love with anyone else, but we know that is the case, or maybe she definitely had not an affair, but like, I don't know, like a love affair without like cheating, if that's a thing, like an emotional love affair. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Did we know that at the time though? Because we found that out after when the guy comes.
Right.
Yeah.
But you think if she's like telling her truth to him, like that would have come up. But the fact that she allowed herself to maybe have love for another man means that it's not the other guy that really matters. It's that she just hates him so much. Yeah. Like that emotion weighs more than the other.
I think that's what I would say. I don't think it's necessarily implying that there was no like physical romance. It's just that that's not the important part of this to her. The important part is how she feels about Fitzgerald. The fact that, because it's not like she just fell in love with another guy and that's why she wants out of the marriage. She wanted out of the marriage. She's like so unhappy that the falling for someone else is a byproduct of how unhappy she is.
Yeah.
So
which I like, thinking back on the episode.
Yeah.
Because we find out afterwards that Fitzgerald's writer friend actually is in love with her.
Yes.
So they seemingly had some sort of emotional connection.
Yeah, because I think the ad break comes after her speech, if I remember right. And then after the ad break, he's the first one to arrive as the young guy who's about her age. And, when the song starts playing, which, again, Fitzgerald intentionally, puts one on to, ask him questions.
Puts a love song on, yeah.
Yeah. Like, hey, what would love your lives? Like, and immediately he's like, oh, she's usually so appreciative when you give her gifts. Like, when I gave her this ring, it's like, oh, you gave her a ring, did you? Oh, was it Mexico City? I don't remember anyone going with her to that trip. It's like, oh no, we ran into each other, but I am most in love with your wife. It's not the bit. Honestly, the funniest line of the episode is it Marge is the I'll just say bigger lady and I'm pointing that out because they make a point of making a couple of fat jokes. She's the first one. She asked for food. She's like, I'm hungry. Where's the food coming?
Yeah, she starts off as the Melissa McCarthy of the episode, which is kind of annoying. But actually, I found her truth to be quite emotional. That's the part where I was like, this is really getting me. Yeah,
like her truth is really good. But I did actually the first. I guess it's still kind of a fat joke, but I actually kind of found it a little bit funny, where in a positive way, which she's talking. I think she's talking about the attractive writer man. I think, where she's like, hey, you've not been calling me. There better not be anyone who's taking it. And she's kind of like flirting playfully with him. But she says, because if you've been cheating on me, I'll sit in your face and smush it all. And I was like, that was oddly weird and dark.
I thought that was the most Melissa McCarthy thing from the past that I've ever heard.
Yeah, but she delivered it though as an actor from the 60s, which made it funnier to me. Like Melissa McCarthy, I don't find funny at all. But you put these lines into a woman from 1962, and all of a sudden it's hilarious.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but her truth was, I don't know. It was just something so intimate and so private. And when she broke out of that spell, she was, humiliated and devastated, and everybody else were they had stopped laughing because, they realized her embarrassment. And that part, I don't know, it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think as much as I'm sort of mildly critiquing it for like saying, hey, we have a bigger person, so we're going to crack some fat jokes, they're hungry. I do actually think it's intentional because often when you have like a bully type character or someone who picks on people, they will often target someone like that. And I think it's kind of intentionally there because when he says, hey, let's play a game, I want to show everyone something, let's play a game, he's like, I want to volunteer. Oh, no volunteers? I pick you. And he immediately goes for her. So I do think it is actually a little bit intentional. So it's not. It's kind of mean spirited, but not in like a mean spirited for mean spirited sake way, I guess.
Okay.
It fits his character, I suppose. I guess is what I'm saying. But yeah, she does this thing. So Circa de Luna. I always forget the title of that damn classic track. But you've all heard it.
It's the Godzilla King of the Monsters song
from the trailer. Yes, that really good trailer. But it's been in a bunch of things over the years. But it starts playing and he's like, "Oh, my name's not really Marge. I'm Tina, and I'm a dancer." And she starts dancing, and everyone's sort of laughing at this because they think she's just like doing a bit. Like she's just, this is her just having a joke with everyone.
Yeah, I was thinking that, or it's like a hypnotist or something. They're just hypnotized by him.
But then she starts talking about it because she's like, "Are you anything else?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, sometimes I imagine I'm a snowflake, and I'm perfectly formed," which I think kind of leans into her, feeling conscious about her size, and then saying, "And I'm not alone." And it's everyone just gets really quiet because it's like, oh no, she's actually bearing her soul to us right now. Like she's actually opening up and like talking about how she's like, really sad and lonely and whatever. And she's trying to connect with people, and that's what she dreams
but she
of.
feels like an outcast. She says she wants to be a snowflake because they're small and white and sculpted, and like she wants to be beautiful.
Yeah. So really well done scene. And he of course, Fitzgerald's just like, "Oh, don't be sad, Mark. It's just a game. It's just a game." And he's like, "Oh, who's next?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to put this on. Hey, honey, play this one." And he hands her, I think, Faust, that he says, to reveal a devil. But she swaps to another one. And the track that she puts on is more sad. And Tara's been very unprofessional with the phone. I
wasn't looking at it.
I know. But...
I am I? I just came through the freaking thing you just sent me on Discord.
Look, phones are about to be silenced. the fact that Discord takes 15 minutes to send a message is not my fault.
The song is Rockabye Baby.
And they're looking around because they're basically saying, okay, who's this going to affect? Because the idea being that the track will kind of like attach to someone, right? And Fitzgerald was really good at predicting who it was going to attach to. Maybe because he is a good judge of character in a weird way, because he spends so much time sort of analyzing other people and belittling them. But his wife also clearly understands what might trigger him. And the track they play, they're looking around the room, and then they notice that he's the one who's starting to his face is changing, he's looking more upset, and he talks about how he's a scared little boy and how he's terrified of everyone.
Afraid of the dark.
He's afraid of the dark. And he puts people down, he's awful to everyone, to make sure that he's always the one who's on top, and everyone, will desire to be around him and seek his approval. But he does it through cruelty, he does it through these things, I've been mean to you, I've given you a bad review when I didn't really actually think the play was bad. I only did it because I wanted you to, feel like shit, and my wife, who I've hurt the most, and it's kind of almost the obvious finale, but it's the obvious finale because it's the right finale. Like this should end with him revealing and bearing who he is, because like everyone else, it's like all the changes they're admitting to are all the things they've been hiding. It's almost therapeutic where because the wife has admitted this, she can finally move on with her life, and she does. She leaves with the young writer dude at the end.
Yeah,
but his is a little bit different because his is he's the one who's inflicting on this and everyone else. Everyone else is trying to cope with those around them. Everyone else has fears and desires, but they're not. Whereas his is all about admitting that he's, a piece of shit, basically. And I think that
and everyone abandons him.
Yeah, and literally is with everyone leaving. The only one who's left is a butler. And when he comes out and the track's playing, and he looks up at him, Fitzgerald says, "Why aren't you laughing?" And the butler just said, the final line, this is how it cuts to the end. It just goes to Rod Serling's narration right after this. "You're not funny anymore, sir." And that's it. So it was like the charade's up. They all know who he is. He's been revealed to all of his peers, and he's lost them all, because of who he is. It's kind of a tragic, sad episode, at least for the main character. Obviously, for everyone else, they came out of it on a better side. But I thought it was a great character study. I thought the way it slowly revealed just how much more of a piece of shit he was with each passing. Because at first, like, okay, he's a shitty boss to his butler. Okay, it's not very nice.
He's arrogant, or he thinks he's on a different level than everyone else.
And then you get to like the wife, but then once it gets like past the wife, I think it's like instead of like being upset that his wife feels that way, it's like, oh, I'm going to go extra. I'm going to go like super psycho on everyone. I'm going to be the worst of the worst now, and I'm going to punish everyone to make myself feel. But that's just like, oh, this guy's a monster. He's actually a monster to everyone around him.
Right.
It's delightful, and I think the performance is very good. And
I think so too.
And it's a
really good episode.
And as much as I say, you know, he has a sadder ending, I mean, it is possible that admitting all this to himself could lead to an outcome, like a better outcome for him in the long run. But it's definitely much sadder in the short term because everyone's left him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he'll reflect. Maybe he'll become better.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
There was part of me that thought maybe since he broke not the piano, but the track, that he would be stuck as a baby.
That's right. He rips it out and starts ripping it apart.
But he is like still really genuinely upset. But of course, everybody has left him, so he has reason to be other than the baby stuff.
Yes. So no, and Tara's dog's approving of the episode. That's a happy bark. It's a happy bark. No, I think the episode is honestly. I mean, it's not that we've not had any good episodes in a while. Like, you know, I really like the the bunker. The guy trying to make everyone. That was a really good character study episode.
That's the fourth pallbearer or something.
Yeah. That one was really good, and we've had some good episodes this season. But like, it has been a while since I felt this positive on an episode. I feel like we've had like a string of like just okay ones, and this was like, oh no, this is a really good character study with a strong premise that is revealing more about him as it goes, and had a really nice slate of performances from like multiple actors all doing their part.
What was the score on this for average? You said it was kind of low.
Well, not low. It was middling. 7.6.
Oh, okay. Hey, Foxy. Good job guarding the apartment.
Anyway, at the very end, Rod, of course, teased next week's episode, and it was something to do with a funeral for someone who maybe wasn't actually needing one. That was the gist of what I got. But I will now look at the description in IMDb, see if we can make a bit more heads or tails of it. It's called The Last Rites of Jeff Myrtlebank. What name? A young man wakes up at his own funeral and wants to know what the heck is going on. The townsfolk are glad to see him back, but they begin to wonder if he's a man or something else. Do you know, I was about to suggest this was a bit too similar to The Old Man and the Dog from like an episode or two ago. But at least the fact
people can see him.
People can see him, so that makes it very different. So, okay, we'll see what the spin is on this. That sounds okay.
Sounds alright.
Yeah. But yeah, if you enjoyed the show, you could please hit the like button and subscribe. These things are very important. YouTube algorithm is our beast that needs to be slayed. So please do your part and click the buttons. Tara, tell them about Patreon.
If you enjoy our show, please check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MilefuzzTV, and donating as low as $1 per month will get you access to bonus episodes of other shows we do. And if you donate $5 per month, you will get access to these Twilight Zone reviews 1 week early. So, yay.
And you can catch us on Twitter at mild_fuzz for channel updates. But that is us, so thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV in the Twilight Zone.